Hey everyone, Shabby Gamer here and welcome back to our second episode of the King of the Cruiserweight tournament here in SWE. Now as you can hear, I've got my voice back a bit more today. I'm still not 100%, but we are back. And we're back with a vengeance here with 3 more cracking matches for you in this tournament. As you can see in the last episode, we saw Rich Swann, Pete Dunne and Will Ospreay all advance into the quarterfinal stage. This evening we're going to start things off here in bracket number 1 with PJ Black and Mark Andrews. Once we've completed that one, I will of course show you bracket number 2. So let's get straight into PJ Black versus Mark Andrews. And here we go. Now what do we have planned for you? I'll tell you what we've got in the rest of this episode anyway. We have got for you Juventud Guerrera versus Christopher Daniels next. And then our main event of this episode is going to be Ricochet taking on Akira Tozawa. So 3 more cracking matches for you. And of course the winner of this match will go on to face off against Will Ospreay in the quarterfinals. So it's a tricky quarterfinal really for anybody. Ospreay is really one of the favourites for this tournament, maybe alongside the likes of Ricochet and a few others who I'm not going to name. Although you probably will know them by now. You'll know the rest of bracket number 2 by the end of this episode anyway. Trying to keep things a little bit secret as and where I can. But this should be an interesting one. Both guys, I don't know, I sort of feel like PJ Black might have the edge in this one, but Mark Andrews versus Will Ospreay, as somebody who has been out and about and seen the UK scene for myself, Mark Andrews versus Will Ospreay was always one of those matches that happened quite a lot around the UK for a couple of years, and then also translated pretty well into other places in America, such as obviously PWG Bowler a couple of years ago. That was a first round match and one of the standout matches from that night. And it'd be interesting if we could get Mark Andrews versus Will Ospreay again here this evening. Really should have tied it up. Sorry, I'm just looking at my floor right now. I've only got back off holiday a couple of days ago, and I got 2 wrestle crates while I was away. I got my Wrestle Crate UK and my Pro Wrestling Crate from America. And my God, I've got a lot of cool stuff now. I need to find somewhere to put it all now. That's the problem. It's really worth the money. If you're not doing Wrestle Crate, I do suggest you have a look at it. I think Pro Wrestling Crate might be the best one, especially if you're American. Be a bit easier to get a hold of. That's run by the same company that does Pro Wrestling Tees, so definitely worth a look. And we are underway then. Mark Andrews versus PJ Black. And let's see what my memory's like. I think both these guys are from Octane, aren't they? Yeah, I think both these guys are from Octane. PJ Black actually had an opportunity at the Octane Cruiserweight Championship not too long ago. Was unsuccessful in that though. What the hell is he doing? So I just got distracted by somebody outside my front window swinging a scooter around his head like some sort of mad robot lasso. I don't know, some people are bloody weird, aren't they? Talking of which, I'm here. And PJ Black is in firm control of this match to start things off. So of course, this is the King of the Cruiserweight tournament, if you weren't aware. You should be, because you're watching it. Last episode, we saw the self-proclaimed King of the Cruiserweights, Neville, eliminated in the very opening match by Rich Swann. Also, Pete Dunne taking a major scalp in Rey Mysterio Jr. as well. So far, we're seeing some pretty interesting results, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how this one all pans out. And of course, it is going to culminate in its own special show, the King of the Cruiserweight pay-per-view, in which we'll have a lot of showcase matches. Potentially some Cruiserweight Championship matches as well, depending on who gets themselves through to the finals. And of course that big finale, which will be a triple threat between the winners of Bracket 1, Bracket 2 and Bracket 3. Mark Andrews now slamming the arm of PJ Black into the mat. And there's a springboard moonsault. And a dropkick to the back of the head as well. So of course, if you've not seen it already, be sure to check out Octane from yesterday. It's not the best commentary in the world because I was still ill and coughing my guts up through most of it. But we did have 2 major debuts, people that will be involved in this tournament as well. And there's Mark Andrews, the shooting star press pretty early on to, ooh, close to a 3. Mark Andrews nearly had this one, and we nearly saw Mark Andrews versus Will Ospreay in the quarterfinals. So here we saw 2 massive debuts on Octane. Both guys will be part of this tournament as well, so be sure to keep an eye out for that. 2 guys that were heavily requested, especially in a Cruiserweight picture. One of them, I don't know, one of them maybe not a Cruiserweight really, thinking about it. I'm tempted now to change things up. I don't know. I don't know. I'm tempted. I won't. No, we're going to keep it as it is. So I'm having issues now in my mind. My mind is having a fight with itself. 2 count there from this springboard moonsault by PJ Black. Or the Lionsault, as it's better known. Where did I get a springboard moonsault from? PJ Black now heading up to the top. Does he have a 450 in his arsenal ready to go? If he does, he could win this match here and then. Lines it up. There's the 450 by PJ Black, the pin. Referee's down 1, 2. Oh, I need a 2 count. Mark Andrews. The hell is the Big Show doing here? Let's just ignore that. Let's just pretend that didn't happen. I have no idea why. Trust this game, eh? Trust this game. Right, for us to put on a Cruiserweight tournament and it to spit out just randomly one of the biggest wrestlers on the entire game as a run-in. What? I don't even know. I don't even know. Let's just ignore the fact that the Big Show's here, please. I could do it if you can. The problem is, I've tried this before. I've tried to restart matches when this happens. The problem is, if you restart the match, it's already programmed into the match for the Big Show to come out. So, if I do restart it, the same thing's going to happen over and over again, which is a pain in the backside, really. Standing shooting star press now by Mark Andrews. Again, heading up top. But PJ Black is stirring and Andrews is going to stay there. Oh, and Andrews a 450 of his own. 1, 2, and 3. And Mark Andrews has done it by utilising PJ Black's own finisher manoeuvre against him. Insult to injury there by Mark Andrews. What a cocky little bugger. What a cocky little bugger is Mark Andrews. There was a Lionsault earlier on by PJ Black, which managed to pull him off a 2 count. Not quite enough, though, to get him the 3 count he needed. And that's a good victory, that is, for Andrews. Somebody who's not really been at the top end of this universe mode so far. He's been sort of floating around. He's never really been given a major opportunity. And this is a big chance for him. And he's just got himself some nice ranking points anyway. Of course, if anybody gets through the first round, they're guaranteed to come out of this on a level playing field. If you get through the second round, then you're guaranteed to come out of extra points. But this will sort out the men for the boys. Everyone who gets knocked out in the first round, of course, is going to lose 5 ranking points. So it's really going to make a massive difference to our Cruiserweight rankings when we finish this tournament. But there we go. Great win there for Mark Andrews. He will now face off against Will Ospreay in the quarterfinals. But let's have a look at bracket number 2 before we get into our next match. And here we are, your first look at our second bracket in this King of the Cruiserweight tournament. In bracket 2, we've got Juventud, Guerrera, Christopher Daniels, Akira, Tozawa, Ricochet, Hideo Itami, Kalisto, and of course Hiromu Takahashi and Noam Dar. So in this episode, we are going to see Daniels versus Juventud, and we will finish things off with Akira Tozawa versus Ricochet. So without further ado, Juventud Daniels. And here we go. So of course we already know now that in round number 2 we've got Rich Swann, Pete Dunne, Will Ospreay and Mandriz. But of course they are all confined to bracket number 1. This is bracket number 2. And of course the winner of this bracket will be in the main event of the King of the Cruiserweight finals in a couple of weeks' time. Now Juventud is a man who has been up and down so far in this universe mode. He had a bit of a run in season 1 where he faced up against Psychosis Mask versus Mask, and obviously as you can see he lost his mask, which is not a major thing because I think this is actually a better core, to be honest. But I'm not overly bothered about Juvi, I must admit. It sounds a bit harsh and a bit savage, doesn't it really? But if Juvi, he needs to prove to me something. He needs to go out there, he needs to show us exactly what he can do. He needs to prove that he should be where he is, and he deserves a place in SWE, because at the moment I'm sort of unsure. I think there could be better cruiserweights out there who could join our roster, who could be a better asset to us than Juvi, but we'll wait and see. Let's see how he does against Christopher Daniels. We've already seen some big scalps so far in this tournament, and Christopher Daniels being knocked out would be another massive scalp. But could Juventud do it? That's the question. The fallen angel Christopher Daniels making his way down to the ring. A man who has been given opportunities higher up the card recently, and he's now been put into the Cruiserweight division. He's sort of someone who does float in many different areas. he could end up main event championship. He could end up upper mid card. Could end up cruiserweight championship. That's the wonder of Christopher Daniels. He's one of those sort of guys. We've got a few of them knocking around. Not many of them. I think another one's Eddie Guerrera, who could do the same sort of thing. But let's see how Daniels. Let's see if he can find a place for himself. I think he has got an opportunity in a couple of weeks, hasn't he? Yes, he has. Yes, Christopher Daniels has got an opportunity in a couple of weeks' time. He fights for the #1 contendership for the United States Championships. This could be a happy little period of time for him if he does well in this Cruiserweight tournament as well. But first of all, he needs to get past Juventud Guerrera. Probably a bit more experienced than Christopher Daniels, but then Daniels has been around for a long time himself. Daniels been around since the late 90s. A little known fact, actually, that if you've got the network, you might be able to find. Christopher Daniels did appear on ECW before it shut down in the last year or so, with long hair. There's quite a few of these little stories. I think, was it AJ Styles appeared on WCW as well? I believe, before they shut down. So there's quite a few of these little ones out there. But when I saw Christopher Daniels with a full head of hair on ECW, that did surprise me somewhat, I must admit. Backbreaker there by Christopher Daniels. And what about this for a main event though this evening in this episode? Ricochet versus Akira Tozawa. Cracking match. As Daniels just stamping the face of Juvi into the mat now, brings him back up to his feet. And I was about to say Daniels is in control of this match, but then we saw Juvi there turning things around. Snap suplex by Juvi on Christopher Daniels. And now just wrenching that arm of Daniels back. And that could be a clever move by Juvi, just trying to work the individual body parts of Christopher Daniels. Going to weaken his attack, while also weakening his defense as well. So it's a clever maneuver. Standing shooting star press is what it is. Now Juvi up top, high flying maneuver, went for the inverted 450. And Christopher Daniels was able to roll out of the way. And Juvi crashed and burned. Daniels there looking for... well, it looked to be a belly-to-belly, but Juvi broke free, then gets caught with a Blue Thunder bomb by Christopher Daniels, now rolling Juvi over for the pin. Is this going to be enough? 1, 2, it's only enough for a 2 count. I'm going to remember, I can't remember what Christopher Daniels' finishing maneuvers are, to be honest. Did he have the Angel's Wings and the BME? Brainbust there by Juventud Guerrera. We might not even get to see Christopher Daniels' finishing maneuver at this point. Look at that lion solver from the top rope by Juvi. The juice now up to the top rope he goes. But Daniels is stirring. Juvi stays up there though. Great Hurricanrana hooks the legs of Daniels. Referee's down to count 1, 2. Oh! And Daniels almost surprisingly knocked out in the first round for this. I've got Daniels down in my book as one of the favourites to win this one as well. Juvi now sits out, scoop slam. Hooks the leg once again. 2. On again, Daniels kicked out. There's the 630 senton. Wow, Juvi. I said Juvi needs to prove himself to me in this match. And he is doing that right now. He is in awesome form. Now stamping on the face of Christopher Daniels. Bringing Daniels back up to his feet, but Daniels catching Juvi with a dragon screw. Can Daniels turn someone around? He's taken a lot of damage over the last few moments. Daniels now locking in a Koji clutch. I think someone's been very, very lazy with this Christopher Daniels, haven't they, by the looks of it? Juventud breaking free. Yeah, it looks as though he might have been very lazy with this this Christopher Daniels. He does seem to maybe just have all of Sami Zayn's moves. I might be wrong. I'm going to have to check. Pin here by Daniels. And again, it's so close to a 3 count. Seen some pretty good matches so far, and this is definitely up there with them. And I wasn't expecting it, I must admit. Well, I was expecting, don't get me wrong. All these Cruiserweight matches are going to be top level, but there's just other ones I expected. Like I expect Ricochet versus Akira Tozawa to really shine here this evening. Daniels now dropping an elbow straight across the back of the head of Juvi. Now turns him over. And a boot to the back as well. And yeah, I wonder what's going to happen here with Daniel. What does he have maneuver-wise? There's the pin. One. Daniel's got his feet up on the ropes. But Juvi is able to kick out. Juvi not happy. Understandably there, but that's a risky maneuver there by Daniels. Who now seems to be healing it up a little bit. Of course, Daniels and Juvi both from my Octane brand. As Daniels... Oh, there we go. That's the falling... Is that the falling... I can't remember what it's called now. That was one of his finishing maneuvers, wasn't it? Isn't the Fallen Angel or... Well, Juvi's been busted open now as well. As Daniels makes way up to the top rope. And there's the BME. Well, it wasn't really, was it? We'll give it a spin a bit out. And there's the free count. Yes, it was the free count. Juvi kicked out there on the brink of the free. So Daniels is making his way into the quarterfinals with this big victory here over Juvi, which really could have gone either way actually. Both guys showed some fantastic ability in this match. Like I say, it could have really gone either way, but it was Daniels who eventually got the victory. I've got some ideas, some plans for our big finale, and I'm thinking Juventud might be involved in that, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it in a few days. Well, I say a few days, it'll be a couple of weeks' time now, won't it? But a good win here for Christopher Daniels. He now knows he's in the quarterfinals, and he will be facing off against the victor of Ricochet and Akira Tozawa, of course, our main event of this episode. Big win here for Daniels, actually. He'll be very happy with that as well. Going to get himself some nice ranking points with that as well. Remember as well, ranking points do still count in this tournament. I do need to update the ranking point. I'm going to do that after this, actually. I had not updated the ranking points since I've been away for 2 weeks, have I? So I need to do that. I'll get that done. Hopefully by the time this is uploaded, the ranking points would have all been updated as well. And here we go. I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be top level, I think. Really, really top level. Ricochet, a man who I wouldn't be surprised if WWE wanted to have in the Cruiserweight Classic. Of course, it was never going to happen because he was contracted to Lucha Underground at the time. He is still currently technically contracted to Lucha Underground until the finale of Season 3 is aired on TV. Then Ricochet is then officially allowed to sign for WWE if they are so interested, which I believe they are interested from what I've read. And Zack, I think they want Zack as well, but I think the situation with Zack is that he doesn't want to leave the indie scene at this point in time. It said it was for personal reasons originally, which I'm not quite sure how that pans out, whether it is personal reasons, whether it is to do with money and so forth, or just a chance to be a certain place in the card. Because you got to think from Zack's point of view, and I've mentioned this quite a few times now about the Cruiserweights being stuck, and Zack must be sat here thinking that if he did join the WWE, instead of being upper mid card for New Japan at this point in time, wrestling in front of hundreds of thousands, 90, 80, however how many thousands of people turn up for New Japan pay-per-views, he would actually be wrestling on 205 Live in front of a load of people who really couldn't be asked. They're just there to watch SmackDown. So it might have been a wise move for Zack to do what he did. I think Zack to come into NXT, Zack as a main eventer would be a good idea. But I think Zack to come in as a cruiserweight wouldn't be the best idea. So I think Zack should wait for the right moment, I think, for him. And same with Ricochet as well, and potentially Will Ospreay if he ever did want to make that jump, which I assume he would want to make that jump at some point. And you got to think that other people did this as well. Neville did the same thing. He went to Japan and did some good stuff in Japan, some good work in Japan before WWE picked him up, as did Finn Balor as well. So it definitely is a good way of moving forward and doing, and sort of progressing yourself up to the level that WWE want before they sign you up as well, which I believe is what they did with Adam Cole. They didn't want to sign Adam Cole straight away. they sort of sent him away and said, look, we are going to sign you in the long run, but we want you to go away and get a couple more years of experience. Because he did have a trial a couple of years ago, Adam Cole, as did Ricochet as well. And I think it was very much the same idea from both, really. They wanted both guys to go away and spend a bit more time on the indie scene, get a bit more experience and grow. Because I think at that point in time, it sort of makes sense now, because it has been said about Drew Galloway and Jinder Mahal, wasn't it? They were both released because they weren't necessarily mature enough for the WWE. They were capable enough in the ring, but they weren't mature enough. So they were both released to go away and grow up and get some more experience, which they went away and did. Now they've come back bigger and better, of course. Jinder Mahal, of course, the champion, and Drew Galloway probably not too far behind him with the, or Drew McIntyre, should I say now, with the NXT championship as well. I should imagine he'll get that at some point. So there's yeah, it's an interesting concept, but I suppose with no competition that's going to steal these stars away from them, they can afford to do that, I suppose. But enough about that sort of crap. Let's get more into this match here. We have got Akira Tozawa versus Ricochet. The winner will go on to face off against Christopher Daniels in the quarterfinals of the King of the Cruiserweight tournament. We already know that the self-proclaimed King of the Cruiserweights, Neville, has been eliminated in the first round. And there is some big names in that second round already, like Rich Swann, Pete Dunne, Will Ospreay, and Mark Andrews, and Christopher Daniels now. So that quarterfinals is looking pretty strong already. And whoever wins out of this match is just going to make that stronger. Tozawa now German suplex, keeps the grip and rolls the hip into a dragon suplex again, keeps the grip, rolls the hip. We've seen this before. Locks in for the straight jacket German. Doesn't bridge for the pin though. I thought he might in that situation, but decides to continue the offense on Ricochet. Tozawa wheelbarrow German as well. Akira Tozawa really ripping Ricochet to shreds here, actually. But it's only enough for a 2 count. Ricochet being knocked out in the first round of this tournament would be really strange. Of course, I believe we've actually got Ricochet versus Neville for you this week. We have Ricochet versus Neville this week on Adrenaline to become the #1 contender for the Cruiserweight Championship, actually. So that'd be an interesting one. But I'm sure Ricochet will not want to be kicked out of this tournament so early. But it was tricky for him. He drew Akira Tozawa in the first round. I did do all these draws out of a hat, wrote all the names down, and drew them all out of a hat. Never straight jacket German. And again, it's not quite enough, as I'm bumbling over my words. Tozawa dropping a knee on the back of Ricochet. Ricochet back up and needs to face of Tozawa now. And I thought he was going to head up to the top rope, but instead he's just taunting from the middle rope. Maybe not the best idea. I suppose he's getting a bit more momentum moving forward, getting the crowd behind him, but I think he should have gone for a pin there. Ricochet now sending Akira Tozawa into the corner now, just beating him in that sort of corner. Tozawa dropping across that bottom rope as Ricochet drops to the outside. Oh, big running drop kick to the side of the head. I do like that move. That's the one thing that Roman Reigns has contributed to this game that I do enjoy, is that drive-by. Tozawa now running back senton. And this match has been actually really, really even. So I wasn't expecting to be this even, to be honest with you. Oh, but Ricochet could finish it off now, heading up to the top rope. No, he's gone for the corkscrew moonsault. I thought he might be going for the 630 senton, but changed his mind by the looks of it. Brings Tozawa back up to a seated base. Now drop kick to the back. Now a big boot to the back of the head as well. Ricochet bringing Tozawa back up, but Tozawa playing possum, catching Ricochet with the uppercut. Then Ricochet fighting back with the elbow across the knee of Tozawa, sending him into the corner. Ricochet heading up to the top. We've seen this before. The drop kick to the seated, grounded opponent. Ricochet now rolling over, looking to continue the assault. Working over the legs now. Which in a Cruiserweight tournament is a very good idea. Wiggling your opponent's legs. And of course with Tozawa as well, he has a very strong base to hit these German suplexes. Taking out a leg is definitely a good idea. There's another straight jacket German out of nowhere. Bridges for the pin, and again it's only enough for a 2. Tozawa out of nowhere, once again trying to get the victory. Dropping a boot across the back of the knee of Ricochet, and again that's a clever maneuver for him because he knows that Ricochet relies on his legs very much to not only hit a lot of his high fly maneuvers, but he's very strong based maneuvers as well. Oh, Tozawa rolling Ricochet through. Chaos Theory German into another pin. Referee so slow. 1, 2, and he's got it. Akira Tozawa has just knocked out Ricochet in the first round. One of the favourites for the tournament has been eliminated by Akira. Taking nothing away from Tozawa, he's a very strong competitor himself. Again, a bit like I said with Pete Dunne, probably a dark horse in this tournament. But knocking out Ricochet, did not see that coming. Wow. Ricochet, man, you're going to need to win that. You're going to need to win that #1 contendership match now in a couple of days' time. That's the only way you're going to save yourself from a little bit of obscurity. That is, yeah, that stunned me a little bit, that is. That's a bit of a shocking result. Was not expecting that. But then again, the longer and longer the match went, the more and more it became likely. Tozawa just every now and again managed to pop off a pretty strong German into a bridge, and eventually it was going to be enough to keep Ricochet down, and it was. So there we go. We have added Mark Andrews, Christopher Daniels and Akira Tozawa into the quarterfinals of the King of the Cruiserweight tournament. Let's have a quick look and see how that affects our second bracket. So there we go, that is bracket number 2. Next episode we've got for you Hideo Itami versus Kalisto. We've got Hiromu Takahashi versus Noam Dar. And we're also going to have the main event for the next episode, Leo Rush versus Matt Sydal. And of course, be sure to keep an eye out for that. And we will be moving into the quarterfinals very soon as well. We know from this episode it will be Will Ospreay versus Mark Andrews in a quarterfinal. And it, of course, will be Christopher Daniels versus Akira Tozawa. So that's the end of episode number 2 of the King of the Cruiserweight tournament. I hope you have enjoyed it. Of course, if you have, please do hit that like button and, of course, subscribe for more. I've been Shabby Gamer. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you very, very soon for some more King of the Cruiserweights.